Once again, we're embarking into the 48th Clifden Arts Festival. And generally, before all the festivals, we get our poster ready every year, and there's a huge selection of beautiful posters designed by great artists over the years. And it's kind of like the starting block for the festival. And this year for the 48th Festival, I suppose our theme is Journey, as we're journeying along with a kind of a terminus, or a milestone of our 50th year, which will be in 2027. So the theme of Journey was mulling around in our minds, and we said, well, maybe this year, with the powerful work that John Sweeney has done in the Station House, that we'd include a train in our poster. And we were very fortunate to meet a fabulous designer and artist, Valerie Keaveney, who designed this brilliant poster, a happy poster with young children and students enjoying the arts with the Connemara backdrop and the train. So then our next challenge was to find a location for a photo shoot, which we do every year, and we bring young children, students from the local schools for that photo shoot. And again, the gods smiled favourably on us, and we were very fortunate to meet Jim Deegan. So we piled a busload of, I think it was 15 young kids, and we brought them to Maam Cross and in May, on a gorgeous day in May. And I never forget the reaction of the young children, to seeing the trains, the railway line and the old station at Maam Cross. And I suppose as youngsters of our era, we always had a train set. Our ambition was to have a train set, but maybe that's faded away a little bit in modern times. But certainly looking at the faces of the children and their enthusiasm for seeing the old railway station and listening to Jim's stories about the trains, many of them had never even seen a train, that it reassured us that the interest and the magic of train travel is still alive in the hearts of young people, and it will never fade. And afterwards we brought all the kids, and we bought 16.99 cones afterwards, and we enjoyed the day. But the day would not have been possible without the welcome that we got from Jim Deegan. And we were enthralled then afterwards to find out maybe a little bit more about what is happening, to ask Jim about his passion for trains, and this amazing project that is in development in Maam Cross, which is so important to the whole Connemara area. So Jim Deegan, I'd like to welcome you, and again to thank you for the great welcome you gave us on that memorable day. And would you just be able to give us your thoughts and your plans for the future, and how you came to get involved in this huge project?
Well, thanks, Des. It was our pleasure to welcome you all to Maam Cross that beautiful May day. But it all really started in the very olden days when I was a child, and I used to come to Connemara several times a year on holidays. My grandmother was a Joyce from the Maam Valley near Leenane, and some of them had moved into Clifden, and we would come to Clifden, as I say, several times a year. And I was always conscious as a child of travelling the back of the car, looking at this old railway line between Galway and Clifden, and how sad that it was gone, and had been gone even then many years. And I think I developed a sort of an ambition to one day to be in a position to maybe restore a little bit, put a little bit of it back, and that's exactly what myself and a band of volunteers, all railway enthusiasts, we have recreated a stretch of the old Galway to Clifden line, which of course in its time was one of the most scenic in the country. So we looked for a station on the line, and all the stations are still extant, but most are in other use now, are privately owned. In Moycullen there's a crystal factory and a coach company have the whole premises. Recess is a private house, Ballynahinch is a private house. The station in Clifden, of course, is the Station House Hotel. So the only Oughterard was a carpet factory for a long time. The only station that was really seemed to be available was the former Maam Cross railway station, and so we, after several years of negotiation, we acquired the property, and we've set about restoring it to what it would have looked like back in 1935 when it closed down.
But Jim, it might be serendipitous that all those other properties are now in private hands as private houses and businesses, because what struck me on our day out there is that Maam Cross Station has the most unrivaled view. It's not surrounded by trees, or it's not enclosed in the town area, that the actual views around the station are absolutely magnificent. You have the whole of Connemara, of that part of Connemara laying out in front of you. So the site itself is just magnificent.
Well, the scenery is absolutely stunning there, and not really apparent until you come into the station and you walk down to our platforms, and then when you travel out, we've about, at the moment we've about 1 kilometre of rail, so we can give visitors a sense of what it was like to travel by rail in Connemara. But the section we have is absolutely magnificent scenery.
Yeah, it is, and it struck me that day, I suppose, as speaking as an arts festival, and every year the artists they drive out to Clifden, and we've had an amazing selection of poets and musicians coming here over the years. But in the time of the railway, I look back at that time. I think you correct me if I'm wrong here. It closed down in 1935, but prior to that, on that railway track and on the line that we were on that magnificent day, and the children were on, and we related this to them, that people like Patrick Pearse, John Millington Synge, W.B. Yeats and Jack B. Yeats, of course, the artist Paul Henry, and even James Joyce, Marconi and Alcock and Brown, and all these pivotal historic figures, artists and writers, all used the train and journeyed on that track when they came to Connemara. And Jim, looking, as I say, down the line, no pun intended, how long would you envisage the track that you're going to reconstruct to be? And we saw the rolling stock there. And when would you envisage, the full line will be up and running?
Well, we are in the middle of an 8 kilometre or 5 mile stretch of track bed that's completely clear and uninterrupted by any obstacle. On the Oughterard side there's 5 kilometres or 3 miles, and on the Recess side there's 3 kilometres or 2 miles, and there is, of course, we would have to cross the road to Maam Bridge via level crossing, which was there in the olden days, so we would just have to get planning permission to cross the road via level crossing, and we'd have a full run of about 5 miles or 8 kilometres, which would be just the optimum stretch for what is a heritage railway. Now there are hundreds of these in the UK, and there is one other Irish standard gauge railway in Ireland, on the island of Ireland, and it's in Downpatrick. But effectively, at the end of the day, it's an all-weather family visitor attraction. And when we operate our trains there, there is an artistic connection in that we present a theatrical performance. Railways were always full of theatre between the actual train itself and the sights and the sounds, and then the guard of the train blowing the whistle and waving the flags, and even the sound of the doors closing. There are no slam doors anywhere in Ireland anymore. So it's the sights and the sounds of the country railway station, which many people will remember. And what we're trying to do is create a snapshot of the Irish Country Railway and all the experience about it. And Maam Cross is, of course, being the crossroads of Connemara, it's also allows us to explore the themes of famine and emigration and conflict. Maam Cross station itself was badly damaged during the Civil War. It carried the Black and Tans to Clifden for the burning of Clifden back in 1920. Pearse, of course, as you quite rightly say, he got on and got off there for his cottage in nearby Rossmuck. So there's a huge amount of material there for us to explore and to interpret at Maam Cross.
I was recently came across some archival material on the artist Francis Bacon, who was born in Kildare, and of course was one of the pivotal figures in modern art. It was interesting for me to find out his account of journeying on the railway from Galway to Clifden in 1928, and also his experience while staying out near Tully, that the food and the lodgings might not have been the best. So he telegraphed his nanny in London, who was an elderly lady, was still being kept on by the family, and she journeyed from London to look after him, and she was met at the railway station in Clifden here by Francis Bacon, the artist, and driven out to Tully, and also that materials, it was a hugely important line for delivering material from England and from the Empire to Connemara, and I also the house Lisnabruca in Ballinafad. That most of the fixtures and fittings for that house were brought out on the railway when they were ordered from suppliers in England. So it was a pivotal resource to Connemara, but also, as you have said, Jim, I suppose in the latter end of its existence it was taking emigrants away, so there was a lot of sadness there as well.
Indeed, we believe that one person departed Maam Cross in April 1912 for the Titanic, and that person came from Connemara, nearby.
Oh my goodness gracious, yeah. Didn't know what was facing them at that time. So the project, it's not a small project, Jim. I mean,
No,
this is not.
it's
This
not.
is a big project, and you know, I think it's a project that needs recognition and that needs support, and it would be a very, very important project looking ahead for Connemara, and you know, what are the challenges that face you, Jim? Are the greatest challenge?
Well, the fact that the whole project is not-for-profit, volunteer project. We're all volunteers. A band of railway enthusiast volunteers come from most weekends come from all over Ireland, from Dublin, from Cork, from Sligo, from Mayo, from Clare and Limerick, to work on the railway, to effectively rebuild the line, and also when we're running to operate the line safely. But our most recent challenge was quite unexpected, and that was Storm Owen, which caused devastation in the west of Ireland generally. But it caused us particular huge problems because the roof, the very large roof of our sheds were blown off completely. Locals were able to tell me at the time that the place was blown to bits, which it was. So we're still recovering from that. But generally, like any project, the challenges are financial, and we have a GoFundMe page on our website, ConnemaraRailway.ie, and people have been very generous. But I think a lot of people do recognise the fact that we are building something special, and Connemara would never have enough all-weather family visitor attractions. And that's what we are trying to build at this pivotal, strategic crossroads of Connemara.
Well, Jim, certainly our experience that we had on that day in May with you has inspired us, and particularly the faces of the children, and their the awe and wonder that was written on their faces, and we can only wish you well in this important work you're doing, and the fact that it's that you're a community of passionate people involved in something you love, that is so important and will reflect in the future of the project. And once again, Jim, we embrace you and we thank you for your support and involvement with Clifden Arts Festival. And as we journey on in this 48th year, working with the arts and creativity, we wish you all success in your creative work and in the future for this very, very important project in Connemara. Thank you, Jim.
The Connemara Railway Project at Maam Cross was absolutely delighted and honoured to be part of your promotional activity for this year's Arts Festival. And on a personal note, I've been coming to the Arts Festival for many, many years, and I know that it's regarded in Clifden and indeed in County Galway and the west of Ireland as one of the most outstanding festivals of its kind in the west. So all the very best. I'm looking forward to the 50th anniversary.
Jim Deegan, thank you so much.
Thank you.